When people think of police chases, they picture roaring engines, flashing lights, and high-speed drama, but sometimes, real life doesn't stick to the action movie script. Between unpredictable suspects, strange vehicles, and unexpected twists, a few chases have turned into moments of pure comedy. What follows are some of the funniest pursuits ever caught on camera. Real chases that made the world laugh instead of gasp. In Florida, officers once found themselves following a suspect who couldn't have been slower if he tried. It happened in Tampa, when a man on a mobility scooter decided to ignore a simple traffic stop. He wasn't exactly racing. The scooter could barely reach 8 miles per hour. Dashcam footage showed him rolling down the highway in a bright Hawaiian shirt, completely unfazed by the flashing lights behind him. When he finally stopped, he looked at the officers and said, "You caught me." No one was hurt, and the clip became an instant internet favorite. Locals still call it the Fast and the Fragile. Across Texas, another chase had officers scratching their heads. After a windy afternoon in San Antonio, a giant inflatable restaurant mascot, shaped like a cow, broke free and drifted into traffic. Drivers couldn't believe their eyes as the enormous figure floated down the road. Police cruisers surrounded the runaway inflatable, trying to guide it toward the shoulder while radioing updates like "Suspect is airborne." The scene looked straight out of a cartoon. Eventually, the wind calmed, and the cow gently landed beside a highway sign. The restaurant later thanked the officers for rescuing their mascot with free lunch coupons. Los Angeles, famous for its dramatic pursuits, once hosted a chase that looked more like a prank than a crime. In 2016, a delivery driver who had just lost his job decided to take his car for one last ride. For nearly an hour, he led police through traffic, tossing pizza boxes out the window as he went. News helicopters filmed the flying pepperoni trail as anchors tried not to laugh. One reporter even said, "The suspect appears to be sharing." The chase ended peacefully at a convenience store, where the driver parked and surrendered. The story became known as the Great Pizza Pursuit. In the farmland of Iowa, one man decided to test the patience of the local sheriff's office using a tractor. Deputies tried to stop him for a routine check, but he simply waved and kept driving down the country road. What followed was a slow-motion pursuit through cornfields that lasted nearly 2 hours. Locals stood by the road to watch, cheering and filming as the giant tractor rolled by. At one point, the police chief radioed, "Be advised, suspect turning off road very slowly." When it was all over, everyone agreed it might have been the friendliest chase in state history. One Arizona resort became the stage for a pursuit so relaxed, it could have been mistaken for a comedy skit. Security cameras showed a man in a golf cart cruising down the fairway at midnight while staff tried to catch up on bicycles. When officers arrived, they joined the pursuit in another golf cart, laughing as they followed him across the grass. The man eventually got stuck in a sand trap, looked back, and said, "Guess that's game over." He was safely escorted back to the clubhouse, and no one could stop smiling about it afterward. In New York City, an unforgettable scene unfolded in the heart of Times Square. The area's famous street performer, known as the Naked Cowboy, who always performs wearing only boots, underwear, and a guitar, found himself jogging down the street with officers trying to keep up. He strummed his guitar as he went, smiling and greeting onlookers. When the officers finally caught up, he laughed and said, "You guys got great stamina." The crowd cheered, and the moment became an internet favorite for years. In Kentucky, a neighborhood watch call led to what deputies later described as the slowest chase ever. A man doing late-night yard work was asked to stop due to the noise, but instead he drove off on his lawnmower down the street. Officers followed on foot, calmly jogging behind him. After a short while, his mower ran out of power, and he stepped off, laughing. The officers helped him push it home, ending what became one of the most harmless and hilarious chases on record. Australia joined the list with one of the strangest scenes ever caught from the sky. During a balloon festival in 2017, a visitor accidentally lifted off in a hot air balloon meant for display. For more than an hour, the bright balloon drifted across the countryside as police tracked it from the ground. When it finally landed safely in a nearby field, the man simply smiled and said, "I enjoyed the view." The footage spread around the world as a reminder that not all adventures happen on purpose. Sometimes even pets manage to make the news. In Oregon, officers were called to check on a slow-moving car that appeared to be driving itself. When they arrived, they found a very relaxed Labrador Retriever sitting behind the wheel. Somehow, the car had slipped into gear and started rolling forward. Officers carefully guided it to a stop, opened the door, and found the dog wagging its tail. The local police posted the video online with the caption, "Good boy, terrible driver." Georgia added its own entry to the list with a scene straight right out of a home movie. Deputies spotted a man who had customized his riding lawn mower with lights, speakers, and a small spoiler. When they tried to pull him over, he revved the engine and started doing circles in a parking lot like a miniature race car. The officers couldn't help but laugh before convincing him to stop. The moment became an online sensation, celebrated as the Fast and the Curious. California also had its share of surprises. In one unusual chase, officers found themselves following what turned out to be a test vehicle driving on autopilot. The car's sensors refused to pull over, so the officers had to carefully surround it and wait for it to stop. When technicians arrived to take over, one officer could be heard saying, "Technology 1, humans 0." It became a favorite clip among tech lovers who called it the self-driving standoff. In London, traffic cameras once caught a man behind the wheel of a stolen double-decker bus, waving to pedestrians as if giving a tour. Police followed from a distance, carefully guiding the bus through narrow streets until it came to a stop in a quiet cul-de-sac. The driver opened the door, smiled, and said, "End of the line." It was one of the calmest conclusions to a chase ever recorded in the city. A man in Colorado brought humor to another unusual situation when officers pulled him over after a brief pursuit. As they approached the car, he quickly switched seats with his dog, pretending the animal had been driving. The officers had to hold back laughter as they reminded him that wasn't possible. The clip quickly spread online and was even turned into a lighthearted animated meme. In Washington state, snowy weather created one of the most unintentionally funny scenes ever filmed. A snowplow left unattended on a slope started sliding downhill by itself. Police cars followed closely behind, their lights flashing as the plow spun in slow circles, clearing snow along the way. It eventually stopped gently against a fence. No one was hurt, and the local news dubbed it the self-driving snowplow. Canada added its own charming entry in 2019 when officers followed a horseback rider through a coffee shop drive-thru. Witnesses said the rider just wanted a warm drink and refused to dismount. The short chase ended peacefully when he picked up his order and headed home. The video made national headlines as one of the most Canadian chases ever recorded. In Nevada, an electric scooter chase in 2021 became famous for its cinematic angle. A tourist flying a drone captured the entire scene from above. A single scooter weaving through traffic, followed by two officers on foot. The aerial footage made it look like a scene from a video game. The clip gained millions of views online, celebrated for its humor and perfect camera work. These moments remind us that even in serious professions, humor sometimes sneaks through. Every officer involved handled these chases with patience and good spirits, proving that not every pursuit needs to end in chaos. Some simply end in laughter, and maybe a good story for the next morning briefing. Behind every flashing light and siren, there's a human moment waiting to unfold. Moments where real life turns unexpectedly funny. These stories show that even when things go off script, a sense of humor can turn any wild chase into something unforgettable.